Hello everyone, I am back again to talk about the camera plugin that I made for LichtFeld Studio. Since the last time we talked about this, I have made some changes. Visit lichtfeld.io for more information on how to install and get LichtFeld Studio by either downloading the latest nightly or by building it from the source from GitHub. Now, I will show you here is the GitHub repo for the camera recording plugin. Scroll down and you will find all the information and usage on how to use the program. What we want to do is actually copy the link from the address bar. I'm going to select it here and copy, and then you can minimize this program. Now I already have it installed. I'm just going to quickly show you how to do it. You go to the plugin manager in LichtFeld Studio, which is on the right hand corner. You see here GitHub URL or shortcut. You just paste it, so Control V in Windows pastes the link in there, and then you click install plugin. Now I'm not going to do that because I already have it installed. Once it's finished installing, you can now see a new menu appear called camera path. So camera path. This is the actual plugin for the camera. Now, last time I showed you a little bit about the segments I made and how to do a walk. Now I'm going to show you some extra features I've added since then. Alrighty. We're going to go back to Y-axis up. This is the same model that I used the last time. Then you see here how it's linear again and look forward. Well, I have added look angled to this. So we're gonna quickly show off how this works. So I'm gonna quickly click a point to pick here and a pick there. Now we're inverted again, just like last time. Gotta invert elevation. Now elevation offset. So we're gonna go back up in the air. Up in the air we go. Actually, you know what? I want to make this track a little longer. I'm gonna repick the first point and pick it right there. I'm gonna repick the second point and pick it right there, just for the purpose of showing how this goes. Now, the camera is still set in look forward mode. So I have added also a preview path to this. Click preview path and you can see how it's slowly tracking at the speed we've set. Now I'm going to click stop preview. So we want to maybe get it a little bit faster because right now it would be taking quite a bit of time to go from one end to the other. So let's say I'm going to go from that point to the next point in 30 seconds by setting the speed to 10 units per second, and then preview path again. See, and now it's a little faster. It's the camera straight forward. The little white dot here in the center is the center focus point of your camera. So I'm gonna click stop preview. Also, if you want to preview faster, I have added preview speed as well. So now preview speed 4 times. You see how fast we're going through this? We're now racing. 4 times the speed of normal. This allows you to quickly preview if you like what you're doing. Now, okay, now you've seen that preview path. We're going back to the look forward. Previously, look forward or point of interest was the only thing available. Well, now I added look on an angle. You see how there's now, down the path, a little ball at the end. That's actually your indicator of where the camera is going to look. Now we can adjust this by look left and right. So depending on your axis on the cameras, on the whole model, it might be inverted. But just move the mouse around and you'll see which way it's going to be pointing. So let's say I want to point the camera slightly on a 45-degree angle. But not only that, I also want to point it down or up. So you see, if you move it around, you can kind of get an idea where it's going. So we're moving it this way. So now it should kind of look right on an angle through the trees, but instead of a single point of interest, it's just skewing sideways all the way to the end. And what I want to show you here can be now easily done in the preview path again. So we'll leave it at 4. Actually, we'll set it to 2 this time. And click preview path. You see how the camera is now nicely angled all the way through the whole motion till the end. Isn't that beautiful? There we go. So that's the next thing that was added to this plugin. Now, I don't believe I had it in the last time either. We can also do an orbit. So let's say after we've done this linear angled view, we're going to do an orbit. Click orbit, which is fully a 360 circle around a point of interest. So I'm probably going to pick the building in the middle again. We could even do the chimney just like last time. So we got to get the correct axis again. And then you pick your point of interest. So let's say the chimney again. Here's the chimney. Now you can kind of zoom in. We're again on the y-axis inverted. This has its own system. So again, you're going to change that. Then the top bar is the radius of the circle. Then the second one is the elevation. So let's say I want to do a nice circle high above it. Lift her up. You can keep clicking at the beginning and dragging it to the right, and then lifting up your mouse in and dragging it to the right. You can keep doing that to get your elevation you desire. So let's say we'll set it here for now. Well, of course, we want to do a bigger circle. A way bigger circle. There we go. All right, let's say we're going to do that. Now, the circle also has its own speed, and you can set the speed that it's going to do. So the duration, actually, not speed necessarily. I said it kind of wrong. The duration, how long it takes to do a full 360 in this circle. So shorter, it will do it quicker. Don't mind the yellow lines in the preview. That's just preview of the track. It actually will do it perfectly smooth as the purplish, pinkish color shows there. So let's say we'll do that in a matter of also just, around 30 seconds there. So full circle. Not only that is available, you can also select the starting point where you want to start. Arc amount. So where do you want the circle to start? This is actually the arc amount. Do you want to do a half circle, full circle, or the starting angle? Where do you want the beginning of the circle to start? Where do you want to start spinning from? You can see in the preview here that it nicely shows you where the camera will fly from the linear track to the circle before it actually starts doing the circle. So let's say we're going to set it nicely above the linear track. I mean, if we set it all the way over here, it would follow the same track speed as the linear track up to the circle before it starts doing the circle. So let's say set it about here. So I'm going to show you that it's roughly about on this angle coming off the linear track and going to the circle. Now we're going to do a full circle and we're going to preview it again. Previously, you could not preview, so it was kind of a guesstimate whether you were going to like it or not. You had to build the video and, that wasn't always perfect. So now let's go quickly preview path again. You see how the camera nicely goes back on an angle. And then once we get to the end, with the camera smoothing, it nicely should turn its way around and focus on the center building. So we should be almost there. There we go. You see how it's slowly working its way to the point of interest. And now it's in the circle and doing the circle around the point of interest. A nice orbit. And then when it's done, it's done previewing. You can stop preview, of course, anytime by clicking the button or hitting escape. Now I'm going to quickly show you what the difference is when you turn this orbit or circle around. Let's go back to the circle there, the start angle. So now I'm going to put it all the way to the opposite side. I guess I'll have to go this way around to get it the opposite side. So there, now we're about the opposite side again. So this means it would go down the track, down this track, before actually performing the orbit around the building with the point of interest. So we're going back to preview path. I'm going to set it a little bit faster so we're not wasting time here. Preview path. And look how quickly that goes. We get to the end at the same speed. So it will follow the same speed as the linear track to go to the orbit. Now we're on the orbit, and the orbit is going to do its own speed. There we go. So you can see how it starts from a different point. Now I'm going to stop this preview again. I said stop. Must have misclicked there. Okay, so now we're going to set it back to a point closer, start angle. So we're going to set it back closer to there. Now, let's say you want to do an arc of only half a circle. Now this means we're still doing this half a circle in 30 seconds. So it just means it's going to fly slower. If you want to just keep it the same speed as it did before, you'll have to divide this to 15 seconds. So it does roughly the same speed. Okay, so let's see. There. Pretty close to 180. All right, so that's half a circle. We're going to go back to the preview path, and you will see how it follows the line again. This is a linear track with a nice angular view. So there we go. Now we went up to the circle, and now it should only do a whole half an orbit. And there we go. Half the orbit has been finished. So all these features are new, and I hope you like those. So now I'm gonna actually turn that circle back to the full arc because I like that better. There we go, full circle. Now back to the start angle. That's good. Angular momentum there. And then just like before, you have your option of resolution, frames per second, and camera field of view. Keep in mind, when you preview this path, it's going to actually set this to the camera field of view. So wherever you leave the camera, so let's say I'm here and I want to preview now, click preview, it's going to immediately start the preview. But if you click stop, it will return back to your original position of where you left the 3D model before starting the preview. All right. Just like before, we have our output path, our output name. We also have now save track and load track. This was also not available before. Before, each time you closed LichtFeld Studio, this was gone. Now, you can save the track, click save, and opens the Windows dialog. And now you can click and save it anywhere you want. Give it a name, something you recognize. I'm just gonna click here and load if there's a new track to load. And voila, new track to load. Ba-bam, would be done. But I'm not gonna load that here because that's for different models. But that's about it. Now, create the video. 2078 frames. And once that's done, we'll have a nice new video created from our quick preview here of what we've done. And again, you have the offset for elevation is the yellow line on the top of the actual track, just like we did in the first video. This is basically, again, an unlimited amount of tracks you can keep adding and adding and adding. If you don't like how a camera sometimes curls around the corner, if it starts to so-called snap a little bit, you can now preview that in your preview path, which is now added to this feature. So the great stuff all added, and this way you're not having to wait till the final result and then get disappointed when you find out your camera isn't quite tracking the way you want it. So now you should be able to do it. Oh, and I kind of forgot to tell you something. You can now also delete sections. Once you've made these sections, you can delete them. It will automatically connect them together again. So if you have 5 of these sections and you delete section number 3, it will only get rid of section number 3 and then connect. Technically, what was previously number 4 will now become number 3 and will attach to number 2, and that will now make your new camera track. All right, I think we're almost done here. Yeah, it's a little bit of time. There, we got our video done, and now we should be able to watch it. All right, that was it for now. I'm gonna let you now watch the video and add some audio track to it so you can enjoy it in peace, and I'll leave you be. Till next time, take care.